Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Insider Insight Show. I'm honored to have back with me someone who has become, I'm not sure she intended this, but she has become a freedom fighter of the highest order and is taking immense grief for utilizing her right of free speech. Her name is Dr. Karlyn Borysenko, and is a fantastic individual. She's, after earning an MBA and a PhD in psychology, and we'll actually get into a little bit of this about, since her background is in psychology, maybe some of the psychology of the people that are blowing smoke at her and what it might all be about as far as from a clinical diagnosis standpoint. She specializes, however, in industrial organizational psychology. She set her sights on helping individuals and organizations to create a more productive and fulfilling work experience by combining organizational and positive, underline positive, psychology with mindfulness strategies. Karlyn founded ZenWorkplace.com in 2012. ZenWorkplace.com is where you can find her. She helps companies and works with companies and their clients all over the world and focuses on the companies and their employees' engagement, team resilience, and increasing productivity by changing the way they work together. Again, underline the word together. Again, you can find Karen and all she has a fantastic website with a tremendous amount of content at Zen, Z-E-N, workplace.com. Karlyn, welcome to the Insider Insight Show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Karlyn, let's hit it right away. You authored an article, and I'd like to read the first couple lines of it, and then we'll have you take it from there.
Sure.
After attending a Trump rally, I realized Democrats are not ready for 2020. I've been a Democrat for 20 years. But this experience made me realize how out of touch my party is with the country at large. I think those of us on the left need to take a long look in the mirror and have an honest conversation about what's going on. Karlyn, what's going on? What's been your experience?
Well, what my experience is that the Democrats or people on the left have done a really fantastic job in their hatred of Donald Trump in creating a beautiful echo chamber for themselves where they are woefully out of touch with what is going on with average Americans. And, you know, after I've been a Democrat I was a Democrat for 20 years before this, I'm no longer a Democrat. But I after attending this Trump rally, it really gave me a whole new perspective and insight into why people are voting for Donald Trump and, frankly, why I think he's going to get elected again in November.
So, Karlyn, if I said to you 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago, that you would attend a Trump rally, what would you have told me?
I would have told you you're insane and it was never going to happen.
So in your article, and I was completely unaware of this, obviously very aware of social justice warriors. You know, one of my other regular guests, Dr. Michael Rechtenwald, who's a former professor at NYU, took on the social justice warriors and paid a heavy price for that. Very familiar with social justice warriors. But what I didn't know until I read your article is you are big into knitting and these I don't know if you want to call it knitting organizations, knitting circles, knitting internet groups. They are social justice warriors to the max.
Oh yeah, and they've reached a whole new level of crazy. So here's the latest thing from the knitting world. Green socks are evidence that you are a member of the alt-right.
Now what? Now how is that? Because it's green as money, or what? What?
No, it's because so what's been happening in the knitting community is for the last year, a lot of these knitters, I've called them roving gangs of social justice warriors. They've just been going around attacking people for I mean really minor things. One person got attacked and I mean really severely mobbed and bullied for writing a blog post about going to India, and that was not allowed. And someone else said that they're leaving Instagram because they're not comfortable with the bullying. That was not allowed. So the Greens. So what's happened over the course of this, and there have been many very severe mobbings and bullyings, is that people have started speaking out and they've started pushing back on them and saying, no, this is not correct. And so one of the more recent people to speak out, she posted a deeply emotional video saying, I saw the bullying. I knew it was wrong. I didn't speak up. I'm so sorry. And when she posted it on Instagram, she posted it in conjunction with a photo of a beautiful pair of green socks that she had knit. Well, someone in the social justice community liked that photo. They monitor the things that you like, and she was forced to issue a dramatic public apology for liking a photo of a pair of green socks. You can't make this stuff up.
Off the charts.
It's insane.
Okay, so Karlyn, lifelong Democrat,
Yes.
Left of center your entire life.
Yes.
If let's go back 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
If I asked you your impression of Donald Trump, what would you have said?
I would have said that he's a raging narcissist that is ruining everything that is good and noble about this country.
And if I would have asked you about the people who support Donald Trump, what would you have said?
That they were at very minimum supporting racism. Not that they were necessarily all overtly racist, but minimally that they were supporting racism.
Okay. Now, let's take it to March of 2020. I ask Dr. Karlyn Borysenko, your impression of Donald Trump.
I think that he is a blustery New Yorker that brings that attitude with him to the White House. And it's not always pretty, but, you know, he's getting stuff done. The economy is good. And he's really funny if you actually allow yourself to be amused by things that he says.
And if I ask Dr. Karlyn Borysenko about Trump supporters in March of 2020.
That most of them are just really good, decent human beings that have just more conservative ideals about how to run the country. And I think that they really want everyone to have equal access to opportunity.
Okay, so educate all of us on how a PhD in psychology, a guru in the knitting circle world that is completely full of social justice warriors. How did Dr. Karlyn Borysenko go from her opinion of Donald Trump and Trump supporters a year ago to today? Because right now, there are some people going, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, listen, I mean, I cried the morning that Donald Trump was elected. I really did. I was so, and the number one thing I was always nervous about was the economy. I was like, he's going to take the economy. It's going to ruin my business and all this stuff. And at that point, I was so upset about the whole situation that I started, I really made it a mission to create a nice little echo chamber for myself where I never had to hear anything positive about Donald Trump. And so I unfriended a lot of people. I was really only watching MSNBC and getting my news from my friends on Facebook, that sort of thing. And, you know, I think I knew in theory that not all Trump supporters were evil people, but that, I mean, being in that community day in and day out, and particularly when, you know, I think the biggest thing that drove me there was, honestly, I didn't have enough time to really do research and ascertain if what I was being told was the truth, because I was busy. I was building 2 businesses. I was writing a book. I had other stuff going on. I was living my life. And where it became clear to me that something had gone really off track was when all the nonsense started in the knitting community. And I started witnessing these people that I had politically aligned myself with just mobbing and bullying people. One person they bullied to the point where he was admitted to the hospital and almost committed suicide. It was really bad. And, you know, my doctoral dissertation was all about workplace bullying. And so I understood that what was going on was not okay and was not acceptable. And it really started to make me question everything. Now, my husband also has a role in this because we don't really talk about politics all that much, honestly, but he tends to be just a little bit more conservative than me. And he said to me one day, he's like, Karlyn, you should go listen to Ben Shapiro. And I said, Victor, I'm not listening to Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is Satan. And but, you know, eventually I gave in and I decided I'm going to make it a little bit of a project to start listening to voices that I disagree with or that I think I'm going to disagree with. Ben Shapiro was first on the list. And guess what? I found out that he's not Satan. He's actually like a really smart, just normal conservative dude who I disagree with, but he's also really funny. And, you know, all this stuff, it really opened my eyes. And I was like, what else have I been wrong about? And it kind of sent me down the rabbit hole of really trying to investigate the perceptions that I had up until, you know, I live in New Hampshire and New Hampshire politics is fun. And I had been to all the different Democratic candidates. I'd seen all of them in person at one point or another. And then Trump was coming to town and I was like, well, this is like my graduation exercise. It's to go to this Trump rally and see how I've done.
So you first went to, I believe you went to every Democrat candidate that was running for president, went to a rally of theirs.
I either went to a rally or I had seen them. I went to the New Hampshire State Democratic Convention, and I had also gone to an event 2 days before the Trump rally that every major candidate happened to be at. So I'd seen all of that.
And what was your take from those rallies prior to seeing the Trump rally?
It shifted over time in New Hampshire because, people need to understand the candidates are running around New Hampshire for a good solid year before they go anywhere else, right?
Right.
And so at the beginning, they were really talking more about, I think they were being more aspirational at the beginning, but towards the end, it was all just Trump is bad, doom and gloom. We are, sinking as a nation. Everything is wrong. Everything is bad. And even the people that I was attending the Democratic event with at the arena 2 days prior to the Trump rally, everyone was just in a bad mood. Everyone was angry, and it just wasn't an inspiring, uplifting place to be.
Now, prior to going to the Trump rally, did you not go to, wasn't MSNBC doing some kind of on location? So you went to that first, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and tell us about that.
They were just doing a live show at a hotel a couple blocks away from the rally, and so I kind of went, and you just kind of hang out with a whole bunch of people that are watching this, and I kind of said to a couple of them, I was like, I'm thinking about going over to the Trump rally, and they said, no, don't do it. They legitimately were like scared for my safety, and
so they thought you were going to get injured by the hooligans at the Trump rally.
Yes, they were legitimately scared for my safety. And that was actually true of everyone that I told that I was going to this. So, and on the left and on the right, too, because people on the right thought, Antifa might show up, Karlyn, watch out, be careful. And one woman even offered me her pepper spray. And I said, I'm going to be fine. If I feel unsafe, I'll get the heck out of there.
Now, when you ran this by your husband that you were going to go to a Trump rally, what was his response?
Oh, he didn't really have much of a response. He was like, okay, well, you go do what you want to do. He was fine with it.
Okay. So now it was just, so he was not like, yeah, this is great. Or he's just like, let me know. Hey, fill me in when you're done.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So now you go over to the Trump rally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now tell us what you expected, because your eyes were already opening a bit as far as, well, maybe some of these people aren't that crazy, but you hadn't yet experienced the event.
Right.
Okay? Now you get there. Okay. Tell us how you were treated, because I'm sure Karlyn was not, I've been behind Trump 100% of the time. I'm sure, knowing you were very upfront and said, well, I'm really a Democrat.
Yeah, I mean, that was exactly it. And so I kind of expected, I thought most people would probably be okay. I was never really in fear of my safety. I just started getting a little concerned when everyone around me was in fear for my safety. Mm-hmm. But I definitely thought there were going to be some people there that I might not want to associate with. So I was kind of on the lookout for that and just wanted to make sure I was keeping myself safe. But really, you have to get there so early to make sure you get a seat. Mm-hmm. And so you're stuck in line with these people and you just, strike up conversation. And I found out that most of them were just pretty normal, really nice people, or veterans. There was school teachers, small business owners, and even I let it slip a couple times. I'm a Democrat, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, welcome! Like, good for you. We're so glad you're here."
So you were never discriminated against while you waited for hours that you were aware of for this event?
No.
Okay.
No, everyone was very, very nice.
So now you're in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the rally.
Oh my gosh, it's like a rock concert. It is like everyone is so happy to be there. There are people dancing. Everyone's having a great time. The energy is just really good. And people are just genuinely excited to not just to see Donald Trump, but just to be a part of this experience. It's very like an American experience. People were very proud to be American. And that was also another stark contrast with what you experienced at the Democratic stuff too, because no one is proud to be an American at the Democratic rallies, but everyone is proud to be an American at the Trump rallies.
So Donald Trump enters the room.
Mm-hmm.
Give us your impression, because remember where you were a year ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump is an absolute showman. I'll tell you what. And this was right. This is the first rally after he had been acquitted from impeachment. So he's, I think, had a little extra pep in his step, and he had brought all the senators with him, and Ivanka and Don Jr. were there, and he was just owning that room. He was in his ultimate glory, and it was really striking because even now I'm having discussions with people that are Democrats in my friend group, and they're like, Karlyn, there's something mentally wrong with Donald Trump. And I'm like, listen, I watched this guy speak off the cuff for an hour and a half, and he did not make half the flubs that Biden makes in like a 5-minute statement. So don't tell me that he's not all there, because it is incredibly difficult to get up and speak off the cuff for hours at a time.
So your overall impression of Donald J. Trump was positive.
Yeah, I think so. I think, I still think he's a little bit of a narcissist, if I'm honest, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't make you a bad person. And
you don't agree with many of the things that he speaks about, correct?
No, I don't. I definitely have. I still have my liberal values, but I would distinguish my values from progressive values. I am not jumping off the cliff far left. And I do have to acknowledge that there are good things that he's done. Again, the economy is in a good place. I like that he's done prison reform. I like some of the things that he's putting in place, and they're obviously having the result that people want him to have. So, who am I to judge?
And when you had your discussions with other people that were at the rally, there were other people that disagreed with some of his positions as well, correct? It wasn't just Karlyn and 5,000 other people who completely agreed with him. Did you find that there were people that said, "Hey, look, I like him for this, this, and this," like you just said, and I don't agree with him on this, this, and this, but I still support him?
Yes, and that's another thing that people outside of the Trump supporters would find surprising, because they think that Trump supporters are a cult.
Right.
People who are in a cult don't question their leaders. They don't. They have a lot of disagreements with him. It's stemming from anywhere from, I don't like his Twitter, to I think the immigration stuff was maybe a bit much. And I'll even do you one better, because I went to CPAC last week, another place I never thought I'd be.
Really?
Oh, I did.
Oh, tell us about that.
Oh, well, I mean, the thing about CPAC is that Trump is too moderate for them. Right? They're like, Trump was a Democrat for a long time. He's too moderate. We want him to be more conservative. And it's like, what, am I living in the upside down? What is even going on right now?
Okay, so what type of, did you have a similar feeling as you did about the Trump rally as you did CPAC?
Yeah, I did, because, I certainly had, because how that all came about is after my article came out, all these people started calling me, and everyone told me I needed to go to CPAC. And I thought, well, if someone gives me a free ticket, fine, I'll go to CPAC. And, ask and you shall receive. And someone did. And I was just as nervous about going to CPAC as I was probably the Trump rally, because you have a very stereotypical image in your head of what that's like. But what I found there is this is a group of people that is primarily concerned with individual liberties and freedom, and stay out of my business, and I don't want to pay for you, and I don't expect you to pay for me. And that's really the crux of it. And again, I also found it to be a much more diverse audience than people might expect. The attendees were very diverse, and some of the people that were the people loved the most at CPAC were people that the Democrats might say are from like marginalized communities, like Diamond and Silk, or Candace Owens, or Brandon Strzok, or Scott Pressler. These people are rock stars at CPAC, and that simply wouldn't be the case if this was like a racist, misogynistic, homophobic group.